Good evening and welcome to Good News Church Bible Study. I want to let you know how much I appreciate you joining me this evening. I hope that what I have to share with you will be a blessing to you. I pray that you're open and receptive to receive what the Spirit of the Lord wants to speak into your heart today. I believe that the things that I have to say, share with you that today will be a blessing to you. And my purpose is to encourage you. I have a this will be a because I'm closing out this particular lesson, so I'll probably finish a lot sooner than I usually do. But I want to uh, share some things that's on my heart concerning family, and that continuing where I left off on last week. Oh Lord. Continuing where I left off on last week, I want to share some things with you that I pray will be helpful to you. And during while you're waiting on this thing, it is become apparent to me that we're going to be in this a lot longer than anticipated. And so that we sometimes when you become anxious, when you want to do something so badly and you become anxious, you fail to strap yourself in and you're looking for a way out instead of looking for a way to deal with or handle your circumstance. That a lot of things that I have been saying to you over the last few weeks are about encouraging you about trusting God, and we're especially going to have to trust God now. But it goes beyond. It goes not beyond trusting God, but it goes to there are a lot of other things we're going to have to do. There are a lot of other decisions we're going to have to make. A lot of thoughts that we're going to have to press through. A lot of the things that we're going to have to do, because the fact is that person you sitting next to, those children that are in the room with you, you stuck with them for a lot longer than you thought, for a greater time than you thought. So I want to encourage you, ask you, as you come online, that you text somebody. What is it called? When you text somebody, you share, that thing when you show the page, you have that. I forgot what it's called. Something I've seen it before, but I forgot what it's called. If you out there and you see this and you can help me, watch party. Thank you, honey. As if you do a watch party or something, that I've learned some things. As you know, I've been in school and I'm steady. I will be in school as long as I need to, and I'm steady learning things, and I'm learning how valuable these moments are that I have with you are. They're very, very special. They're not going to discontinue. Even when we are physically back together, we're still going to be doing that. I'm still going to be talking to you every Tuesday and Thursday, and we will still have virtual ministries. Matter of fact, that's a new ministry, will be a new ministry in our ministry, and that you're going to hear more and more about that. Right now, what I want to do is prepare to get right into the Word, to share some points of emphasis with you. As I said to you, we're not going to be long with you tonight, because I looked at my notes and I saw that I was at the tail end of what I had to say to you tonight. And so, but I have some very, very important emphasis that I need to tell you, talk to you, but the emphasis on family first, emphasis on family. Let me begin by encouraging you to that when I finish tonight, you will have an opportunity to give, and to give online at www.thegnc.org, or you can mail your tithe and offering and gifts of love to Good News Church, P.O. Box 721-853, Houston, Texas 77272, or you can bring it in person to 8400 Boone Road, Houston 77072. I'm going to repeat this at the end of the lesson, but right now I want to get right into it to share my heart with you, the things that I believe that God has given to me. The first thing that I want to begin with is by saying to read my basic text is from 1 John 4:4. And it says, "Ye are of God, little children, and have overcome them, because greater is he that is in thee than he that is in the world." And then there's another one that I want to share with you, that about it's at creation. Give me a moment, because it just came up in my heart, and I'm gonna pull this up right quick in Genesis chapter 2. Genesis chapter 2, and let's see if I got the right one. That's what it said. Yeah. Genesis chapter 2, verse 23. And it says, "And Adam said, This is now bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman." Woman is the Greek word ishah, which means woman with a womb, because she was taken out of man. "Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh." That's important. That's the part. That's the very important part that I wanted to get across to you. I also want you to consider chapter 1 and verse 26. And I know you're wondering, well, what does this have to do with what you just said? But just hold on just a second, because I'm going to share some things, some points of emphasis with you. And these two verses just came up in my heart. It says, "And God said, Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion." That's kind of what we've been talking about on Sundays. "Over the fish of the sea, and the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth." So God created man in his image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them. And then this verse 28. "And God blessed them, and God said unto them, Be fruitful to them, be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, the fowl of the air, the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth." And so the point that I want to make to you, and I will quote to you about what Jesus said, one of the 7 last words that Jesus said, and that was in John 20. Jesus said, while he was on the cross, "Woman, behold thy son, son, behold thy mother." My point is that I want you to see that God places a value and a premium on family life, that he sees it as being very, very, very important. Not just the relationship between husband and wife, but the relationship between the parents and their children. And he tells, and Paul says, "Provoke not your children to wrath." That we're not supposed to place our kids in position where we force them to disobey us. And so that the reason, as I said to you on last week, the reason that I'm coming at this, because news accounts of what's going on, and I felt that I need to deal with this and take just a couple of lessons to share this with you, because I want to encourage you to work within the scope of your family. You're together now. You're going to be together now, and you may as well get used to it. You're going to be together for a long time. The scientists say, the doctors say that some prognosticators say, well, they'll have a vaccine at the end of the year. And then others say the middle of the year, and others say 18 months. We really don't know. And that we don't want to rush into anything, because we don't want the cure to be more detrimental to us than the virus. And so that we want to be careful, make sure everything is tried and proven before we rush into it, and everybody running out trying to get a shot to protect you from this virus. One, that we don't know what the side effects. We don't know how long it will last. We don't know that it will stop it. If it will block it, we don't know what it will do. So what I want to say to you tonight in my heart to tell you, settle in, get used to being with each other, because it's a part of, it is the way God originally created you to be together. He said, he told them be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue the earth and have dominion. He told them. He told them. He didn't say to the man or to the woman. He said it to both of them. And so that it was always God's plan for, as he said in chapter 2, he said they two shall be one flesh. It was always God's plan for us to operate as a unit, one unit, a team, and not as individuals. That you may not realize this, but each one of you, husbands and wives, that you have, and children, that there's something in you, that creative things on the inside of you that is helping your partner and your kids and you to come to all that God has purpose for your life. And we need each other. You know, that I remember Ephesians 4, he said, every joint supplied one another. Well, that's not only applied to every individual, but it particularly applies to the family unit. Remember that while you, husband and wife, may came from different backgrounds and different places, that's why you believe the way you do, think the way you do, act the way you do, because you come from different places. And realize that it's okay to be different. It really is. It's okay to be different. As a matter of fact, there's a law that says, there's a principle law or a principle that says opposites attract, likes repel. That's why Deb and I get along so well, because we are polar opposites. I mean, personality, everything about us. She's an extrovert. I'm an introvert. And that she likes to go, I'm content to stay home. She likes to have fun. I can have fun reading, listening to the word, reading the word, watching TV. I can have fun doing it. I'm content to do that. And so, but she wants to go, and so we work together. We don't get in each other's way. Now, here, that because of the pandemic, we were forced to stay home. But another thing that I want to address, two aspects I want to talk to you about. And one is that the psychological effect that all of this is having on us, and that what it's causing in the family, and that when you being pent up is like being in a closet, claustrophobic, and that I don't know if any of you have ever done that. I can handle being closed up in a place. I had to go and once last year and do the what is the thing called? They lay you on this pallet and they put you in this machine. They slide you in there and you have to stay in there for 30 minutes, and you can't move. And so you stay still, and the thing was tight. It's called it's when they I forgot what it's called. I can't think of it right now, but some of you nurses out there could help me with it. But it's round. It has a thing. It goes around like that, and your body, sometimes your total body is in there, yep, that's right. It's a scan. It is a scan, but I forgot what kind of scan it's called. It's not is it CT scan, CAT scan. That don't sound right either, but I appreciate your suggestions, but that don't CAT scan, CT scan, that don't sound right, but you understand the machine that I'm talking about. The point is that I was in that machine and it was tight, you know, like when so my arms were folded to the were pressed up against me. What is that? I don't know if MRI. That's it. That's what it is. MRI. Thank you. Who is that? Linda. Okay, Dr. Linda. Thank you so much. That's what it was called, an MRI. And so my arms were pressed against it, and you know they had to. It's real tight. And so once you go in there, they played music in my ear to keep the thing made a lot of noise, a big hum and stuff to keep me from focusing on what was going on. But what happened is while I was in there, I had to stay in there for 30 minutes. And while the total was an hour, 30 minutes, then come out, then go back in there for an hour. They were scanning, checking some things in my body, in my back, actually. And so while I was in that thing, I was doing fine the first 10 minutes. So I was doing fine. And then after a while, that I started counting the seconds because I was looking for the time when I can get out of there. It was getting to me. It was bothering me because I was closed up. I couldn't, my nose, you know what? And anytime you closed up, things that you want to do, that you need to do, that you naturally do, you can't do. My nose started itching, my head started itching, and I couldn't lift my hands. I couldn't do nothing because I was closed up in there. And it was annoying to me. And that they say some people start fighting trying to get out of there. Well, sometimes that's what happens when you're closed up with your family and it's just you and them and you're not going to. Now, I recognize that the stay-at-home was, well, actually, the stay-at-home order has been extended to May 20th. And so that some people are going out, and as you can see, if you watch the news and watch what's going on, you see people are not practicing safely. And so, there was 1,000 new cases today, and more people are dying, and they're predicting that we're going to see well over 100,000 people die by August. And that's very possible. That when they were talking about that by June, I was thinking it wasn't possible, but it's over 72,000 now. It is possible now at the rate that's what's going on. So that's why we tell you to practice safe distancing, try to tell you to wash your hands, and that the goal is to, of the medical profession and our civic leaders they can't stop it because there's no vaccine, but to slow it down so that we won't inundate the hospital system. That's really what they're trying to do, because the reality is people are going to get the virus. It's going to happen. But no plague shall come nigh our dwelling place. That is our prayer, and so far no one has been injured by it, because we're doing what we're supposed to do. You may feel like, when is he going to open the church up? When is he going to open the church up? Well, I got some news for you about that on tomorrow. I'm not going to say anything tonight, but I got some information. I'm going to tell you about that tomorrow. And so, as I told you last week, we had the doctor that killed herself. And then the other thing about this is an escalation of domestic violence. And now the murders have gone up in Houston, 39%. And so what it is people are pent up, they cooped up, feel like they can't go anywhere, and you're stuck with the people that you're one with, that woman that you're one with, that man that you're one with, those kids that you had, you're stuck with them, and it feels like you have nowhere, you're claustrophobic, feel like you have nowhere to go. On top of that, we're dealing with death daily. That hearing, you're hearing about, that they keep tabulating how many people are dying. And it's always been fascinating to me, it has been fascinating to me, how that our president and our governor have factored in certain amount of people are going to die as a result of opening up the government. So that I have an opinion about that. I'll only give you this part of what I think about that I think people's lives are more important than the economy. And so that's just my opinion, that I think I think people's lives are more important. I think people's lives are more important than the economy. And so that's why I made the choices and the decisions that I've made, because I care so much about you and I love you so much. But the point that I want to get across to you, that the reason I read to you from 1 John 4:4 is I wanted to illustrate to you, hey baby.
Hey.
That I wanted to illustrate to you, say hello to the peoples.
Hello everybody.
So we're doing a different type of Bible study today. Both Deborah and I both going to teach you today.
Oh.
And so the reason I read to you from 1 John 4:4, because I wanted to add the back part of that. It says, great is he that is in you than he that is in the world. So the point that I wanted to, reason why I bring that up is I want to tell you there's more in you than just being stuck in the house and feeling like you're caught up and then have nowhere to go. See, that you, as a couple, you are an institution and you are representing God. You represent who God is in the earth. The relationship between husband and wife represents God, who God is in the earth. That woman is a helper. You're there to help each other to develop. And then Peter says that your prayers may not be hindered. That that we are heirs together of the grace of life, that and that he says that our prayers not be hindered. See, that this is not the time to affix, well, you don't do this right, you don't do this right. Well, everything worked fine when you guys weren't together. But now all of a sudden that this person don't do this right. And so many things can annoy us that didn't used to annoy them. Well, listen, saints, let me tell you something. Each one of us are doing the same thing we always did, except we didn't see it as often. You know, now we see it, we see it 24/7, and we used to see it every now and then. It didn't bother because we're seeing it now every now and then. Our little idiosyncrasies and our little quirks that we have, they're getting under our skin and getting on our nerve. And so, and now the last straw is, okay, well, I want to divorce you. Well, no, that's not the answer. That's not the answer. The answer is refocus. Come back and refocus who you are, refocus as it relates to your relationship, and come back and rediscover the God that is in you that brought you two together, that you need each other, that there's something that, listen, you have not, contrary to what you may think, you have not gotten all that you need to get out of your spouse.
Yeah.
There's some more, there's a whole lot more. You have not got, even your children have something to offer. There's a pastor said, out of the mouths of babes and sucklings, the kids got something to say. And so and we need to listen to them. And sometimes, you faced with trying to help them with their homework. I'm so thankful that my kids, let's see, one is going to be 45 in July, and the other one is 42. I got grandchildren and great grandchildren, and they with their parents, and I don't have to relearn math and English and all that stuff. I don't have to go back to school and relearn that stuff. And I am so glad that my kids got to go through the school system, and not like what you guys are having to face now. Yeah. So I want you to consider the pandemic that you are facing now. That you go to work every day. That at our church, everybody's working. You go to work every day, and then when you come home, you got to go to work again by teaching your children, educating your children. Then you got to prepare food, and you got to, and all the other, clean the house and all the other things that you have to do. And that can be stressful, especially if it's left on one person. And so if it's left on one person to do it all, I know that one of my favorite scriptures of what Paul says in 1 Timothy, he says the wife is to be the keeper of the home. Well, that was the original intent, that the wife was to stay home and take care of the children, raise them, and to take care of the home. They were not supposed to work. Don't y'all shout me down, ladies. They were not supposed to work.
Hallelujah.
But today, don't be concerned. Y'all ain't even waving at me. See, I thought y'all be waving, the ladies be waving at me and stuff. But today, that's impossible. Now it's impossible, right? Because the way things are, we have adjusted to 2 incomes. And so ladies, don't go quit now. Don't go quit now. And so you stay there. You are his helpmeet. You are there to help him. So you keep on helping him. But I do believe that, that if you have stay-at-home orders, and soon that just about everybody is going to be out and working, and don't go if you don't feel safe. Listen to me. They can't fire you because of that. Don't go if you don't feel safe, because this is a life and death situation. It really is. And I hate to keep harping on the pandemic. I want to just teach you the word, but the fact is, what I have to say to you is related. And that when I want to say to you about relationship between husbands and wives and children, it is relative. And that it is, because we weren't having this kind of problem. We weren't having massive individuals where husbands and wives are fighting at home. It wasn't, we had some domestic violence, but not the way it has escalated now. And the reason that you have to understand why. What is the cause of it? Because we're at home all day with each other. We're looking at each other all day. And so then
now you're having to deal with the person, and the way they do things. And the thing that we as individuals, we have to learn is that we're different. God made us different. If he wanted us to be the same, then he would have created us the same, but he didn't. He created us all different. And so what you have to learn in marriage is how to allow those differences to be a benefit, and how to work with the differences, and to know that my difference should complement your difference. And so which make us whole and make us one and make things better. Instead of looking at it as, you don't do this like I do it, and trying to shape somebody into how you are or how you feel like they should be, and not allowing them to be the person that God has created them to be. Because when God created them and put you guys together, he knew that what they had was something that you was lacking and something that you needed in your life. And so most of the times what we do is we fight against the very thing that God is trying to give us, that we're lacking and that we need, that will help us to be successful in life.
Now, we are going to have to adapt. She's right. We're going to have to adapt. That our whole lifestyle has changed. And listen, let me tell you that some of these changes are permanent. That I know the way church it was, the way we went to church, how we worship, it's changed forever. And that you'll hear more about that, especially the leaders. You'll hear more about that on Monday. But it's changed forever. Everything has changed forever. It may seem like a negative, but it really is a good thing.
Yeah.
See, this whole thing is giving you an opportunity to get back in touch with your family.
Yes.
Your husbands, you've been working.
Your whole family.
You've been working and working and working and working and had very little time for your family, and now you do.
Yeah.
Wives, you've been working and working, and you have very little time for your husband, and now you do.
Yeah.
It is a good thing. Rediscover what it was that draw you to each other.
Yes.
Listen to this in the message of Ephesians 6, chapter 1, in the Message Bible. It says, children, do what your parents tell you.
Mm-hmm.
This is only right. Honor your father and mother is the first commandment that has a promise attached to it. Namely, you will live well and have a long life.
But look at what it says. It says, this is the first commandment that has a promise attached to it.
He didn't say it was the first commandment, but it's the first one that had a promise attached to it.
Right, that's right. First commandment that has a promise attached to it.
And the promise is longevity.
Longevity.
And so that, that he promises 70 if by reason of strength, 80. The reason why you hear me talk about 120, because that's the year number of man that we're supposed to be here. And I have modified my stance now because I'm reconsidering, do I really want to stay here till I'm 120 years old, considering the way things are.
Right.
So what I'm saying, I want 80 plus. And so that everything over plus, so I want to stay here, at least I want to stay here 80 plus.
Yeah.
But I don't know about 100 years. So that all of you that are older than me who weren't listening to me anyway, that understand that I've relieved you of your responsibility to stay here for 54 more years. Listen to this. He says, fathers, don't exasperate your children by coming down hard on them. Take them by the hand, and this is important. Lead them in the way of the master.
Yes.
Lead them.
Lead.
There's a difference between leading somebody and forcing somebody, and pushing somebody. In my first few years of pastoring, I thought that everybody had to make the same choices that I did.
Yeah.
And then I put the same kind of pressure on my family and the church because, I made certain choices in my life and how I was going to live my life, how I was going to commit my life to Christ. How there's certain things I'm just not going to do. I learned that it's okay to drink wine, but I'm not going to do it. And so it doesn't mean that it's I learned that it's not a sin, but I'm not going to do it because it's a weight. It is a weight for me. Now remember that I told you about that. It said, well, all things are lawful, but not all things are expedient, which means that I may be able to do certain things, but don't mean that I should be doing it because what I'm doing could affect my witness to my brother, and that preventing him from being saved. And so he says that lead them. When I lead them, it means to walk in front of them and set the example.
Amen.
When I lead, I set an example that the kids should watch. Last week,
that they can follow.
last week I told you about how my kids never saw Deborah and I fight. They never saw us argue. They never saw us fight. And some of you had some very funny comments about that. Say that they couldn't be. Some of you said you couldn't believe that how we kept that from our children. How we didn't argue in front of them. We didn't. We never. Now we don't argue at all. But when our children were young and coming up, they never saw us argue. Now let me tell you something. You can try that if you like, but your children know. They may never say anything to you. And my son told me he didn't know what it was, but he knew something was going on because the kids
can sense.
They can sense. They pick it up in the spirit. They know when something's not right, but they don't know what it is because they don't hear any. They knew, but they didn't know what it was. And so when Deb and I weren't talking to each other, and we were going, I was pastoring. Now most of the stuff that happened, I was pastoring, and I was going to church every Sunday, and nobody at the church knew that we were like that because we would pass like ships in the night, and it wouldn't be her, it would be mostly me. Well, because I had a lot. If you point at me, and so don't you point at me, girl. And so I had now I'm trying to teach a Bible study. This ain't the thing that the truth is that I had a lot of growing up to do. And if you can't make the adjustments now, maybe that's a maturity that you need to develop. That the key is how you do it is refocus. Go back and rediscover why'd you look at that man and look at that woman and say, what'd I marry you for? Now, okay, I do recognize that some cases it may have been physical. Okay, I do understand sometimes it may have been physical, and what was physical wasn't there anymore. The question I always ask couples before they get married, I always ask them, do you love them? They said yes, and say why. And then they start giving all the reasons why they believe that they married them, why they believe that they love them. And so then my response is, so you're telling me when they're not that way, you're not going to love them anymore. Right. Well, and the answer to that question is, I don't know, I just do. And so that if I don't know, I just do, love your spouse. If you do, then the idiosyncrasies that they have should not be a breakup point for you. That you should recognize that they are there to enhance your relationship. Listen to this. You need to stick at this point. You need to stick by each other. And if you have a case where I recognize that I'm not just talking to Good News, that I'm talking all over the country, actually all over the world.
Absolutely.
And because we're seeing that we are reaching out all over the world. And so the thing that I want to tell you about that, that it's not just you anymore. It's your family now. And it doesn't matter whether you are head of household or whether you have children, if you're by yourself. And I don't get into partners and all that because I only deal with husbands and wives, period, and male and female husband and wives. That's all I deal with. That's another subject altogether. And so but you need to realize that it is not wise to mistreat each other. It is not wise. I read to you from Malachi 2, and the part that I wanted you to emphasize, 2 verse 14 says, "Yet ye say, wherefore? Because the Lord hath seen witness between thee and the wife of thy youth, against whom thou hast dealt treacherously. Yet is she thy companion and the wife of thy covenant." That you're in covenant relationship with each other, and your children represent the fruit of the covenant. And so make up your mind. We're going to make this work. I don't care if last night you were fighting like cats and dogs. Somebody has got to make a decision that we're going to make this thing work. It reminded me of, I was watching Fresh Prince one time, and he was, that they had went through counseling, and they had this big fight, when they went through counseling. And Will Smith said, I could yell, I could scream, I could be angry. He said, but one of us got to be mature. And he said, and it ain't gonna be me. And so, so go ahead and let it be you. And you say, well, I gave in the last time. Well, so you gave in the last time.
Yeah.
I don't care. Remember, Jesus said, how many times? Peter said, how many times ought we to forgive? And Jesus said 70 times 7. Well, you may feel, well, I'm always giving in. If you're the one that has the maturity, please take that in the spirit that I'm giving you to do that,
right?
To give in and to keep the family structure working together. Then you keep doing it. Maybe because if you think of it like this, instead of looking at it negatively, like I always have to give in, I always have to live in. Think of it like this: God gave you the grace to do it. Because there's certain things Deb has grace for that I don't. That she has tolerance for that I don't. And then there's things that I have tolerance for that she don't.
Right.
That means that God has granted you favor in that area where that you can handle it. And so that don't look at it like well I'm always the one giving in and I'm always having the one to back down. Well, it's because that God has given you the ability. You have what it takes you are the glue that's holding the families together. And it doesn't matter whether it's man or woman.
Right.
It's both of you have the responsibility. See, ignorance is your worst enemy. Ignorance is your worst enemy. So I wrote you can have desire, you can have passion, you can have heart, you can have a heart to fly an airplane. But when you get into the cockpit, your ignorance works against you.
Yeah.
It exposes what you don't know. And so Hosea said, my people perish because of the lack of knowledge. And so you need to take the time now while you're at home to get to know each other. Go ahead and rediscover each other. All of you can do it. You can do it. Say that with me. We can do this, baby. You turn to him, and you turn to him. You turn to her and say, we can do this. And if you're there with your children, we can do this. Well, if you're there by yourself, I can do this.
Right.
And so don't become a statistic. Don't become a point to see that the emotional changes that are happening to us now are causing us to react from our emotions more than what we know in our heart. So we're letting how we feel drive us instead of what we believe. And so that you have to be careful. And so, that I remember talking to Tracy this weekend, and my heart really go out to her because she's a respiratory therapist. And so I remember talking to her this weekend over about how she felt and what she dealt with. And she said when it first began, it was very difficult. She was talking about all the people she saw die. And that, can you imagine being inundated with death day after day after day? And I was watching this nurse today, and congratulations to all the nurses today. And then I heard that it's not Nurses Day, but Nurses Week. So all week we celebrate you. But she was saying, the nurse was saying, is that people came in and that she was trying to help them, and there was nothing they can do to save their life. And if you have a lot of that, it can really mess with your mind, mess with your thinking, and so you feel helpless. And so husbands or wives that have doctors or nurses that are coming home to you and that they're facing that. Remember that they're having to quarantine from you. They want to be with you, but they're having to separate from you, and it's just as hard on them as it is on you. Think about, especially those of you who have wives who are nurses and who work in the hospital system, period, that police officers and firefighters who are seeing this stuff over and over and over again. That's why policemen, they have the highest percentage of divorce because of and firefighters, because of the stress involved in their job. They're faced with life and death situations every day. Every day. And so, now, they eventually become desensitized to it. And then you have to watch that because we are the balance for them. I wrote somewhere down here, we have to become balanced for our mates because when they become desensitized to it, it means that it doesn't bother them anymore. And it doesn't mean it doesn't care, but they don't feel it anymore. So we have to be balanced in their life, but we have to be strong enough to be balanced in our life to bring them back to where that they're supposed to be. Are y'all listening to me?
Yeah.
And I really wish that y'all were here, because this is really good. What I'm telling you is, see, whenever you enter into anything without knowledge, Satan can get the better of you. He can take advantage of you. So when, that they used to say, what you don't know won't hurt you. That's a lie.
That's a lie.
So what you don't know will hurt you. So when we enter into any form of relationship without knowledge, our relationship is destined to fail. See, you're giving Satan an open door to destroy your marriage, your family. The world does not honor marriage. But remember, as I've been teaching you, we're citizens of another kingdom. So if you want to be a plumber, electrician, a dentist, a doctor, a nurse, there are some classes for it. And that you have to take it and then pass some tests to get a license. But isn't it amazing that you don't have to have no knowledge or training, no test to pass to get a marriage license? You just simply need to be able to open your mouth and say, I do. See, just give them the money and you got a license. They don't ask any questions. I remember, it's been 47 years, but I remember. Then you go with your unlearned self in the area of a relationship, a marriage, and hook up and mess up both lives. That's actually the reason why that I usually won't marry without counsel. It is wisdom to back out if you don't have knowledge, and if you don't have knowledge, and it is foolish to go forward with something in order to save face because of money, because you told some folk and you know it's wrong. It's foolish to keep going. It's time for us to go ahead and act grown and act grown and back up. It's time for us to in our households to go ahead and say, honey, look, we're in this thing together. I told you about the time when Dr. Deborah put her arms around me and said, I'm with you. And that meant everything. Now you may have been looking for something for her to say something great and philosophical and very romantic and all that. And all I needed was for her arm to be around my waist saying to me, I'm with you. And she told me that, and it did everything. It built my ego. It helped me. So wives, let me tell you this. A husband needs to be stroked and he needs to be encouraged. And I'll take the husband, you take the wives. Okay, a husband needs to be, I take the wives, you take the husband. Okay, husbands, a wife needs to be constantly told, I love you. They need to be reminded that they're safe. They need to be reminded that you're going to be there for them. They need to be reminded that they can count on you. They need to be reminded that you're going to help. And you have to tell them over and over. And just telling them one time, in the old school, my parents, they would say, Mama say, do you love me? And he say, well, I'm still here. Come on now, come on. So she need to hear, she need to be reassured daily of what you feel about her. You need to compliment her. You used to tell, ooh, girl, you sure look good. Compliment her. Now, I recognize that over time, there may be certain things that are disproportionate compared to the way they were when you first said, I do. I understand that. But don't accentuate that, because what you married was not what you see now, but what you married was what was on the inside of that person. And so that person is the same person. Now, she's grown, she's matured, and they need to be constantly reminded. They do need to be constantly reminded, I'm going to be safe with you. I, periodically ask my wife, are you happy with me? And and I ask her, are you happy with me? And she always says yes. And I want to know, are you happy with me? Are you glad you're still with me? And then she'll always follow with, are you happy with me? And I always say, yeah, and I am. 47 years, I'm happy. I ain't looking for no grass on the other side. It ain't greener, because if I want my grass over here to be as green as the one on the other side, all I got to do is fertilize it. And it'll be just as green on the green on my side as it is on the other side. In other words, all I have to do is nurture it and take care of it. Just take care of what I already have, and it'll come out just as good on the other side.
And the husband needs to be, I think, first of all, respected. Husband want to be respected. He also need to be stroked. His ego need to be stroked. You the best. You the greatest. You my hero.
Yeah, you used to always say that.
and let's see, respected, stroked. I had some more and I even went away. Respected, stroked.
Is that all you can think of? That
No, I
need?
had some more. I'm trying to remember. I had them in it kind of, you know how you go blank. Shoes. Honored.
Yeah.
Respected, stroke, honored. Oh, I had some more. Shoes.
That's all you can think of.
No.
Good God. Good God. Okay, I'm gonna help
Go
you.
and I'll get some more.
I'm gonna help you. Okay, because I'm gonna pull up some stuff.
Respected, stroked, honored.
Encouraged
Encouraged, right? Yeah, encouraged.
and made to feel valuable, made to feel important.
Yeah.
But the most important thing that a man needs is honor and respect.
Honor and respect, right?
That's the most important thing, and so that a woman needs to be honored, loved, and protected. And here's another thing. I'm gonna give you some homework. Instead of looking at what's wrong with why you at home, find 3 things that's why you see what's good about you being home together, being at home together. I knew I would find it. I knew if she needs honesty, communication. Yep, that's right. Commitment, financial security, financial freedom, security, intimacy.
Without intercourse. Oh.
A self-confident man. And so that she need that. Now here's the one for you.
A man needs sex, companionship, attractive spouse, praise and admiration.
This one's important.
Needed, want to feel needed, appreciated, and respect.
There's nothing like a man who thinks you don't need him. Nothing like it,
Yep.
and then
You can do it
disrespect
by
him.
yourself. I don't need
And
you.
so, these silly women that go around and I don't need no man. And I don't need no man. I did all right all by myself. Well, you should have stayed by yourself.
Yeah.
And that,
praise and adoration, honey, you the greatest, you the best, you my hero, you my Superman.
In my stupid years, Deb used to always say to me, she'd say, "You my hero." When I was acting crazy, she said, "You my hero," and I used to think she was mocking me, but she was serious.
Oh, yeah.
She was serious, and so
And
that.
he's smart too. I used to tell him how smart he is.
She used to say that. So
Very
I'm
smart,
telling
very
you,
intelligent.
going on and say some good things about that.
Yeah.
Say some good things about that man. Tell that man what you mean to him. To find 3 things to say to your spouse today, and then go to your kids and find 3 things. That's your homework. Find 3 things to say to your children and that you see that's good about you being together with each other. Stop complaining about, I'm stuck in the house with you, and start seeing the advantages that you have, and share with your spouse what you see that's good about you being together. Well, unless you got something else, Deb, that's all I really had to say tonight. It looked like I went a little longer than anticipated. Yes, I did. I went a little longer than anticipated. Again, I wanted to express my sincerest appreciation to you for joining me tonight. I pray that what I shared with you was a blessing to you. If it is a blessing to you and you like to sow into this ministry, I encourage you to go to the www.thegnc.org or mail to Good News Church, P.O. Box 721-853, Houston, Texas 77272. Or you can go in person to 8400 Boone Road 77072. And you should know we're looking at other ways that you can do it. Other things that you can do, you'll hear about that real soon. Before I go, of course, I'm going to pray for you, pray with you, but I want to remind you, stay focused. Stay there. This time, stay focused. Go back and Stay focused and making this thing work. You can make it work. You can make it work.
Yeah.
You have been two ships passing in the night, and now you're docked together. And so make it work. You remember when you first got married? Before you got married, your thoughts were about, I can every day I want to be with her. I can't stand being out of her presence. I want her around me. I want him around me. Oh, I just love him so much. And I want you on cloud 9 or 10 or 21 or something. And I just got to be around him, and I just love him. And I just, oh, Jesus, I just thank God for him. And I just want him to be, he makes me laugh. He makes me happy. And I want him around me every minute. I want her around me every minute and every second. And now she is.
Yeah.
Okay? And so you got your wish.
Mm-hmm.
Now she is.
Yeah.
And now he is.
Yeah.
And so it's not so much that problems come, it's how we handle them.
Right.
And so let's work these things out. I don't want to be dealing with divorces. I don't believe in divorce. Now, I'm just telling you, I don't believe in divorce.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that when they start hitting, leave the house.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't say divorce them, leave the house. I think a man that hits a woman is a coward. And I don't think a woman ought to provoke a man, just like fathers are not to provoke their children to wrath, or wives are not to provoke their husband to smack them. So, and I don't think it's ever, and women can do it. And I don't think that it's ever right, even no matter what they do or what they say, I don't think it's ever right for a man to hit a woman. This is what I say about you who hit each other. Remember, you're not the parents, you're the spouse. And all the discipline that you don't have a responsibility to discipline your husband or discipline your wife. All the discipline they didn't get when they were at home, they ain't going to get it now. The only one that can train them and discipline them now is God. And so, stay in there and fight for your relationship. It's too valuable. Finally, I'm going to tell you this. Did you know that when God put you together, he said 1,000 can put, one can put 1,000 to flight, but two can put 10,000 to flight. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, it's in the marriage ceremony. I said, from this day forward, you're 10,000 times more powerful spiritually than you were before. Well, what I'm telling you is that there's a greater power, greater influence in you together. And then with your family, there's a greater influence and greater power with you together than it is with you by yourself. You don't have to be alone. Even if you're single, you don't have to be alone. Even if we call it jam, Jesus and me. You never walk alone. You can be alone, but you do not have to be lonely. You're never lonely because God is with you. If you're head of household, that for every woman and every man, I always pray that you get a spouse. But you want to get the one that God gives you, mm-hmm. and not the one that just looks good, because everything that look good may not be good for you.
That's right.
And so it's like everything that look good don't taste good. And so that just because they're fine, don't mean that they're the right person for you. The word said, "Whoso findeth a wife findeth a good thing." Mm-hmm. Let God
obtain the favor of the Lord.
Obtain the favor of the Lord. Let God give you your spouse. Wait on him, and let God do it, and then you'll get the one that you're supposed to have. Well,
right. And before you finish, another thing to watch out for is verbal abuse. Verbal abuse could be just as worse as physical abuse because, words that go out of your mouth, you cannot take them back. And we as women, we're incubators. And so if you say something to us, then that word goes into our hearts and get in our spirits, and we incubate, we hold on to it. And so where you may later come back and apologize, but that word is still there that was spoken, and even to your kids.
No more verbal assaults. Put up your insult shotgun. Put them up. Your insult machine gun. Put it up, and let only the sweetness of God that is on the inside. Remember, great is He that is in you than he that is in the world. And so let the presence of God rise and come in. You know how I got to where I don't argue with her anymore, because when I get mad and feel like I want to raise my voice and argue, I go into my closet and I say, and she still makes me upset. She still, yes, you do. She still makes me upset. But I won't argue, because I go in to my closet and I say, Lord, I remember that I made a covenant with you. I made a promise with you. I need you to help me to continue in my promise with you. Make a covenant between you and God. And remember, you made that promise between you and God. And so whatsoever God has joined together, let no man put asunder.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Well, Father, we're grateful to you for this privilege that you have given to us to honor you for this at this very, very special and precious moment. We are at a very, very special time in our life. And we pray for the family unit, for husbands and wives everywhere, for heads of households, for single individuals, and for children everywhere.
Yes.
Father, that you would help us, even though the world's way is to divide and conquer, but your way is to stand together in unity. Father, you said where 2 or 3 are gathered together in your name, there you are in the midst of them. So we believe that every family unit, whether there's husband and wife and children, whether there's a husband and wife, whether there's a single person, that every person is connected to you, therefore in your family. So I ask you, Father, in the name of Jesus, give us kind words to speak one to another, kind, affectionate words to speak to one another. Help us to lead one another with compassion. Help the husbands to lead their families with compassion and love, and let it be demonstrated and not just spoken.
Yes.
And then, Father, help the wives to be continually submitted, yielding to their spouses, that letting them know that they are with them, that they're standing by them, that they are the helper assigned to be with them. Let us not use words that destroy or tear down one another, but let us use words that edify and exhort one another. Finally, Father, for our children, I ask you, because you call them the inheritance from you. So I ask you, Father, to bless every little child, everyone, and wherever they are, and even the wayward child, bring them back into the family. Father, pull them back together, that they may see how valuable they are together, and that we all need each other. We love you so much and appreciate you. Thank you, Jesus, for answering our prayer. In Jesus' name. And the people of God say, Amen. Well, I love you so much. I appreciate this time with you. And I look forward to, gee whiz, I did it anyway. I look forward to talking to you tomorrow, at which time I will bring you an update. And you want to hear this update because it's important. I'm going to bring you an update on the decision that I've made. And you may not like it, but I've made a decision, and that I think and that I need to let you know about. So tomorrow at 12 o'clock, and I start at 12. I'm on time. Tune in. Now, I understand that some of you at work, and we're going to be on Instagram. Bible study and Sunday worship going to be on Facebook. Well, actually, it's going to be on all mediums. And so you're going to hear more about that tomorrow, because we're upgrading our stuff. And so, but it's going to be about a Bible study and Sunday worship is going to be on Facebook. But our weekly updates is going to be on Instagram, and that you can access Instagram. It's actually going to be on Instagram and Facebook, and so you'll be able to catch me. I'm going to do it from the church tomorrow. Is that right? Yeah, do it from the church tomorrow at 12 o'clock. I think it's RLW Oasis. I think that's what it is. My Instagram account. I think that's how you get there. Anyway, I'm not sure because I'm new to Instagram.
I think on Instagram, there, baby.
I'm new to it. Just put my name up there. Is it Bishop White, or is it just Ricky White?
They'll figure it out.
But go to, or you can go to the web page, and you can put it. That's somebody trying to help me. Go to the web page, and then you'll see us there. Love you. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Have a good night. Have a peaceful night. Have a wise day tomorrow. Blessings be to each one of you.
Amen.